1,750 new high-paying jobs making car batteries at a new Toyota plant is a huge win for the Triad. And looking at the bigger picture here, it could be the start of even more green energy jobs we could attract. In fact, the accounting team Ernst & Young found growth in green energy. It could create 10 million new jobs at least, all of those up for grabs. And Governor Roy Cooper says the new Toyota plant lets the world know we are ready to get to work.
We're encouraging more electric vehicles on the road and in our state government fleet. And as all of this progress continues, the world will look at North Carolina as a hub of clean energy and clean energy jobs.
The big question still is, with such a hot, growing job market, what sets North Carolina apart? Why were we able to land Toyota and hopefully more green energy jobs in the future? I'm Ben Briscoe. From now until 6, we're digging into those questions, starting with asking the executive director of the NC Clean Energy Technology Center at NC State.
We got into the game early. We are a state that, had a lot of policy and support for clean energy dating all the way back to the oil crises of the 1980s. And so we kind of got into the game early and were well positioned when clean energy prices came down to take advantage of that. And so, we put ourselves in the right spot. So when the right time came along, we were ready for it.
And he says right now is definitely the right time to attract those green energy jobs because we are politically purple. We've been able to do this so far. We're pretty split, Democrats and Republicans, and that helps.
A lot of these, issues, required some bipartisan partnership to drive the trains forward. And so, energy is a funny thing. It's probably the most regulated, sector of the entire economy, if I had to guess. And so politics matters. And North Carolina has a long history of having people from across the political aisles work together to find legislation and policy that helps to make clean energy possible.
Yeah, I was scratching my head too because it's hard to think of people working together in North Carolina, both the political parties, but on green energy and job creation, it's actually one area where they really do come together. For proof, all you had to do was listen to the announcement of the Toyota plant yesterday.
We've worked well, Republicans and Democrats in the legislature and my office.
Governor, thank you for what you've done.
The North Carolina story is one of success, but it's one of collaboration, it's one of bipartisanship, it's one of working across this entire great state.
In fact, the Clean Energy Technology Center says North Carolina is one of the top 4 states in the country for solar energy. We already have the largest land-based wind farm in the southeast, and we are poised to be one of the leaders in offshore wind energy production. And just to make it really clear where North Carolina stands, Governor Cooper signed an executive order back in 2018 mapping out green energy goals. The government said he wanted the state to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to 40% below 2005 levels. He called for 80,000 zero-emission vehicles on our roads, and he called for state-owned buildings to reduce energy consumption by 40% per square foot. He wants all of that done by 2025. Last year, the Department of Environmental Quality released a 372-page report about how the state can actually achieve all of that. It included recommendations ranging from preparing for floods to better funding for transportation infrastructure. The Megasite is not the first time the Triad has gotten national attention for making electric vehicles. Back in April, Vice President Kamala Harris visited Thomas Built Buses in High Point, a plant that makes electric school buses. She also visited Guilford Tech to highlight some of their green energy job training programs and promote the infrastructure bill. Vice President Harris said the bill, which is now law, would create high-paying jobs while helping fight climate change.
Help is here, and hope is here, and things are looking up. A good job allows people the freedom to build the life you want, to reach as high as you want, to aspire.
Harris even said the programs at Guilford Tech, they're a really good model for the rest of the country too. The Electric Transportation Policy Director for the Southern Alliance for Clean Energy says programs like that across our state have produced more high-quality workers, which have attracted smaller suppliers of electric vehicle parts, which in turn will lead to the big names, more of them like Toyota, moving here.
So North Carolina's just got a really great setup to continue to grow manufacturing and the associated jobs here in the state. And the jobs that we create and the economic development that comes from this relocation of a Toyota or other manufacturers is just a drop in the bucket of what's possible. Right now, nationwide, we've only seen about 2 to 3% market penetration with electric vehicles. As that grows, the number of businesses that are going to be needed to deliver those EVs is going to be growing exponentially.
Getting all these new jobs also goes a long way to improving our quality of life and keeping your family safe. Last week, we saw a harsh reminder of climate change as firefighters tried to get a massive wildfire at Pilot Mountain under control. Fortunately, they had it 100% contained by the end of the week, but an analysis by a group of nonpartisan scientists found North Carolina's risk for wildfires could double by 2050. And the impact from climate change on our state does not stop there. Just ask the folks in Lumberton, who were completely underwater because of Hurricane Florence. Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley explained that climate change keeps making hurricanes bigger and badder.
There are two main questions when talking about climate change and hurricanes. Will hurricanes become more frequent? And will hurricanes become more intense as the climate warms? The answers might surprise you. Data suggests that yes, oceans and the atmosphere continue to warm, but it also shows that wind shear will begin to increase. That's important because wind shear can rip hurricanes apart or even keep them from forming in the first place. And that suggests that the frequency of weaker hurricanes could drop over time. However, the storms that do form could be stronger thanks to those rising water temperatures. That warm water is the perfect fuel to throttle these storms up. But we should say the study of storms and climate change is complicated because of a lack of historical data. It could likely take decades before we truly know the effects of climate change on hurricanes.
Look, the bottom line here, we should all get used to the color green. Green energy jobs are already bringing a lot of extra green to the Triad economy too, and the experts say we are set up to see even more of that in the years to come.